All right, detailed vid of how I grow these fat and juicy mung bean sprouts in a mason jar. Pretty simple, in the dark. I've experimented with a lot of ways, but this one seems to be the best just because they come out really thin. A lot of times I'm going to actually harvest these. So I start off with 16-ounce jar seeds, right? And then I get them going. That's the fermentation lid. These are just the seeds. These are the heirloom organic mung bean seeds that I use. So I get them going until they have a tail. And then what I do, so we've got the fermentation lid in there. You can imagine there's some tails. And then it's pretty easy. You just hold the fermentation lid. You drain, rinse. The more you rinse them, the faster they grow. But I don't use that after a couple of days. That's initially. I just go ahead and put that on, put them upside down, keep them dry. And then after a few days, totally in the dark, with the lid, the fermentation lid on top, you get this. I have used an amber jar just to keep it away from the light even more. But the problem with the amber jar is that the fermentation lid, the ones that I have, don't totally keep everything down just because it's a wider mouth. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest these so you can really see how much the yield is. Okay, so this is the harvest, but keeping it totally real, I'm actually making lunch as I'm doing this, and I'm making a little quick pho, so I actually have to add my noodles into here real quick and then get right back to shooting this video. Funny, huh? Okay, so I've rinsed it. This is a massive bowl. I really love it just because you can really dig in there and rinse really well. This I've done several times, and this is the best batch yet just because they are very juicy looking and fat. And you want to catch them before they start putting out the leaves because it's trying to turn into a mung bean plant. It wants to grow into a full plant. So it starts to get more and more fibrous and the roots start putting out like really thick hairs. But this is a really good harvest. I wanted to use the larger jar so I could get more. But again, I probably have to find the larger fermentation wider fermentation weight in order to do that. But these are super gorgeous. So the little shells come off pretty easily. You might have to pick away any of the little bad ones and ones that didn't germinate well. For the most part, these mung beans that I use germinate super amazing, and they're grown in the US, and which is really hard to find because a lot of them are grown in China. So even these ones, you know, you can eat those. Unless they are like rotting and slimy and smelly, you can totally eat those as well. So yeah, that's the harvest, and it takes a matter of 5 to 7 days depending on when you harvest, and they live in the dark the whole time. So if you have any questions, leave them below. And then if you are curious about how I grow these leafy sprouts, they're not microgreens because they're not true leaf, right? I'll link the video below with all the details, but essentially just to cover it briefly, I sprout them in here until they're a good size. So I would say this is going to be another day or two before I put them in the tray and spread them out. Keep them in the dark, mist at least 2 to 3 times a day, sometimes maybe a little bit less depending on humidity, weather, and then you can start harvesting these really right now. Sometimes I like to just sort of pluck, you know, little bits. The daikons are super spicy. That's what's growing up here. And so you definitely, they grow really fast and really, really easy, but you don't want a whole tray because that shit is super spicy. So nothing to be scared about. Those are just hairs. They're sucking up all the water down there. You see that loveliness? And what I've noticed is that the sides around here tend to not get as much water. So you got to water that really, really quite well. And then I know that a lot of people struggle with growing sunflower seeds in jars, but as you could see, they grow really well. It's definitely patience because they take long to actually sprout. This has probably got, you could start eating some of these, but I'll probably grow these for another day or two. And sometimes I like to harvest them like half or a quarter and eat some and then keep growing the rest. Like I had harvested half of this because it was really jam-packed, and then I'm just growing them a little bit more. I love them super green, and I like them where they are almost a shoot, where they're longer. and where the seeds are easily rinsed off. Look how green those alfalfa. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out, rinse it really well, get all those out, and I can harvest some of this today as well, the garlic chive. And this is another one where it's like pure patience, because it takes like a week to a week and a half. So is cilantro, but all fun nonetheless. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.